It's time for Silver Linings with Greg Neal, physical gold and silver expert and wholesale supplier, answering your questions about how and where to store your hard-earned money with a rational sense of peace in troubled times.
Hi, this is Greg, and my dear wife Melody is here with me.
Good morning.
And we're very excited to be back again. And here we are. It's Sunday, and we're excited to come to you with some updates about what's gone on this last week.
What a week we had.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I mean, the Republican National Convention held in Cleveland, Ohio was an amazing event, to say the least. It was certainly full of a lot of interesting monkeys in the barrel, per se. Ted Cruz's little slight against the party nomination or nominee is really a huge, huge issue.
I thought that really put mud on his face. We don't need to be told how to vote.
Yeah,
it just made him look like a poor loser.
I totally agree. I feel like it was just a gut punch, one more gut punch that he could get in before this thing's all over. He's obviously upset that he didn't get his shot, and he feels like he wants to control his constituency as far as those that were going to vote for him were kind of leaning towards voting for him. It was really a nasty, little statement. I would like to say, however, I was absolutely blown away and impressed with the children of Donald J. Trump.
Oh, their speeches were really, really well done.
I was amazed. I was almost like, well, can we pool them together and have them as our president?
Yeah, we've been raised in a culture here in southern Utah where they teach by the fruits you shall know them.
Yeah, I mean, really, I mean, can we have Ivanka Trump as our president? I mean, if we have to have a female, and I'm totally open to that possibility, anyone but Hillary Clinton personally, but let's vote for Ivanka Trump. Forget her dad. Anyway, so, wow, what a week. One of the things that's really interesting about what's going on with the big stream or heavy media that's out there is the cover-up that's going on with the rest of the world's real issues going on behind the scenes. Having these two conventions in this next week, of course, the Democrats doing their convention is really quite incredible. You got 2 full weeks of just completely washing out what's really going on in the world, other than a Bloomberg that is constantly talking about the world's economic events. I mean, you got the rest of the media just basically just slamming, the process, and particularly Trump and his process to become president. Going to be real interesting this coming week to see what happens with Hillary and how that all goes down.
They did mention a little bit on the news about the coup in Turkey.
Yeah,
but what was that all about? I mean, what are your feelings on that?
Well, it's another. I feel like probably most likely, just like all of these issues, when these countries start to get squashed, or it looks like there's some kind of a coup to take over or something of that nature. Usually what's going on is the U.S. government's behind all of this because there's some energy going back towards a gold-based standard of currency, if they're going to use currency in those countries. That's really what it comes down. That's what happened in Libya. That's what happened in Iraq, Iran. I mean, you name it. Every other country that in the world that's attempting to actually become a really true sovereign nation generally is going towards this gold-backed process, and the powers that be are crushing them in the process.
Yeah, well, that was one story that got highlighted a little bit, but
yeah,
this economic problem is much bigger than countries. I mean, it is countries, it's worldwide. The banks are a mess, and it's trickling down to our communities, and we're seeing it with the frustration of the the people with this whole black and white movement. It's just so frustrating to me that we're even fighting about this stuff.
Yeah,
if we can't provide for our families and we can't pay the bills, then crime is going to eke out into the community because people are getting desperate.
In my opinion, we've got to stop, maligning the black communities, the white communities, causing it. This incredible push towards a race war in this country is all literally a created process by the powers that be behind the scenes. And really, pushing down the real truth about what's going on is their process of making these other issues more important, i.e., the bathroom issue.
It's a media agenda.
These are not real concerns of real Americans or anyone in the world.
Speaking of a media agenda, wasn't it interesting watching MSNBC cut and interrupt our speakers at the Republican convention?
I generally will watch NBC just to see what the liberal media, what their little game plan and ulterior motives are. It doesn't take very long, other than just a few minutes, to actually see this process occur. And one was very, very heavy in the face. I'd never seen anything like this before. If you were watching any one of the mainstream channels, these cutaways while the actual honored guests that were speakers were speaking, all of a sudden their information and their talking heads garbage is more important than this individual who was actually honored as an honored guest to speak. They cut these people off.
They're standing there in the audience with the crowd talking over the speakers.
Yes.
It was so rude.
The whole thing was as if it was just kind of done by, junior high theater group. And actually, that's kind of maligning of the junior high theater group, because it was even worse than that as far as the way that they were doing it. And, we'd never seen anything like this. I mean, I never have seen so much dishonor of speakers and honored guests in an environment, for a national audience.
Well, who owns the media? And who is puppeting the world economy? Mm-hmm. And what agenda do they have to keep their little...
it's a cabal is what it is. I mean,
so let's talk about that a little bit. As a bigger picture, what is really going on, and why are they so committed to giving information that would be so slighted to one party or another?
Because the biggest issue is that they're actually losing. They're losing the game that they created to begin with. All you have to do is take a look, and you're not going to see it on the mainstream media, but you're going to take a look at Deutsche Bank in Germany with the problems that are there.
What problems?
With regard to their bank, it's literally falling apart.
Why?
They're all in derivatives. They're in paper derivatives, and rather than actual hard goods, metals, or anything of actual real true value. And their derivatives plays are falling apart around them because there's, literally no buyers anymore for that kind of thing. So they're stuck with this, and it's literally going to destroy their bank.
What are they buying?
Derivatives. It's just
if the derivatives are falling, they've got to be investing in something that's not going to collapse, right?
That's the game plan. But what? When your bond market is falling apart as well, people are losing faith in the system all over the world.
Explain to me this negative interest. Why would I put money into a bank that's going to charge me to hold it?
Well,
that doesn't make any sense to me at all.
If you have any kind of a brain, you wouldn't do that kind of a thing. But the problem with the currencies around the world is they're actually fiat currencies, meaning that they have no backing. There's nothing actually physically backing the currencies anymore. The oil dollar is gone. The BRICS nations have completely removed themselves from that process. will not accept U.S. dollars, at least how they're structured right now. And, we've got an entire world economy that's literally falling apart, and no one's talking about this important information in the world.
Yeah, when I look at the Dow and the numbers, I mean, they're just higher than they've ever been. So why would I pull my money out of the stock market when my money is making money right now?
You know what? That's a really good point, Melody. The markets are rigged. They have been for the last 50 years. And we can go into that more in depth here after the break. We'll be right back.
Have you lost trust in the government? Have you lost trust in your bank or investment portfolio? Are you just flat out scared right now about what is coming on the horizon? If you're ready for another choice in where and how to store your hard-earned money, Greg Neal, physical gold and silver expert and wholesale supplier, has answers and a rational sense of peace in troubled times.
Now is the time to make a change. This is Greg from the Gold Ore Store. Come in or call 435-703-9119.
All right, we're back, and now we were just discussing a little bit about this rigged market that is part of our world that most people are just not generally aware of. They look at these absolutely incredible numbers on our stock market, the Dow Jones above 18,500. It's just, these numbers are just every day. It literally is world records. To have a Dow that large and that high is so incredibly dangerous for the world. And it is so much so because when it does start falling, you won't be able to get out quick enough. And that's one of the issues I definitely like to talk to our clients about is, many of them are actually very heavy in the stock market. This stock market is a very dangerous stock market because of the fact that it is so inflated, as all markets are, including housing, folks. And they're all bubbles, and eventually all bubbles they burst and they break. The Dow, or actually, let's even just go to all markets in general, particularly the precious metals markets. You've noticed, if you do keep track, that we've had a little bit of drawdown this past week in gold and silver, but we're still up into the, basically the $20 range on silver and into the low 13s on gold.
Still a great investment.
Still absolutely incredible. And, we get a lot of folks that, are weenie-whiny about, losing 5 or 6 cents in the silver market. They got to realize these are rigged markets. The numbers that you see on the screen, if you go to Kitco or wherever you go to actually get those numbers, they're based on massive purchases by huge,
banks,
corporate entities.
Like Chase.
Well, we're talking about numbers so incredibly high that there's no possible way that we even have that much gold and silver physically available on this planet. And so it's a lie. These are, I can't say this loud enough. The numbers that you are experiencing right now are a total fraud. They are a lie. They are deceit, and they're fraudulent to the nth degree, and they always will be as long as the market is controlled and rigged as it is. I will say one thing about Chase Bank, at least their president, runs that bank. Jamie Dimon has been stockpiling physical silver for quite some time. In fact, it's reported that it could be as much as 500 million ounces of silver bars done in 1,000-ounce silver bar size. So, yeah, there's amazing things going on out there. But most of these...
Why would I want to buy when when I can't rely on the market because of the manipulation. That makes me nervous.
You should rely on the market as far as the low numbers, because they're being pushed down right now to the benefit of the bankers. This has really nothing to do with you and me, other than the fact that a low price on silver, sub $20 silver, is a bargain of the universe. I mean, we should be buying as much as we possibly can afford right now. The silver ratio right now takes 67.42 ounces of silver to buy 1 troy ounce of gold as of Friday's close. It really is an incredible ratio. I mean, even that, it's been as high as 80 this year. So that just gives you an idea of how ridiculous it is. It's supposed to be a 16-to-1 ratio, meaning 16 ounces to purchase 1 ounce of gold. That eventually will actually decrease even to a much lower amount. When the gloves are off and when this market is actually made into a free market, those of you out there that have been crying and whining about paying $21, $22 an ounce for an ounce of silver will be screaming to buy an ounce of silver for 21 or 22 ounces when it's up into the hundreds.
Now we've got this incredible debt that they're talking about, the deficit, and all these countries that are really struggling with their money not being worth anything. And you've talked about a world reset. You're kind of talking about that as being a world reset for gold and silver too. Now,
Yes.
Wouldn't that bring the price of gold down?
Actually, there may be initially a drop in particularly gold. There are some out there, Harry Dents of the world, that expect to see a massive drop in gold and actually a deflationary type of situation occurring. I don't know that I fall into the category of agreeing with that. My position on this is that basically, particularly silver, will jump up dramatically because it has been held down for so long to such low levels that the free market will actually increase its numbers dramatically based on economic conditions. And it is used heavily in the industrial world. And so things are about to change for the whole entire world related to the silver metal.
It's interesting to process that whole dollar value worldwide. All of the currencies in the world have a different value. Mm-hmm. And it's completely unfair if you have a commodity or a natural resource in your country that is highly prized, and yet they don't give you value for your dollar in exchanging that.
Yeah, and then we go back to this dollar valuation on things. It really is an unfair way to assess valuation of things, because the dollar in itself is really a defunct monetary debt instrument.
Yeah,
and
so if the world currency is all backed by gold and everybody's on the same standard, then all the currencies are going to be valued at the same value, wouldn't they?
Yeah, actually, with the BRICS nations and everything that's going on with the world revaluation, or GCR, the global currency reset, a lot of folks aren't even aware of what I'm talking about. There is a global currency reset that is about to happen. It will happen this year. Probably by October 1st will be the very latest that it will occur. It has to do with all of these countries who's have really been beaten down to a pulp as far as their currency valuations are concerned. They've been removed from the IMF's group of countries that deserve to have working capital relationships with their banks, their central banks. Those include Iraq, Indonesia,
South Africa, China.
China. I mean, all of these countries are actually in the process right now of literally resetting their value. And as a matter of fact, just a couple of weeks ago, the Zimbabwe note, the $100 trillion note, which many people are aware of and some are not, is the highest denominated bill that's ever been created by man, because of the massive hyperinflation that beat just about anything else in the world ever. In 2009, was basically put down to nothing, and they those folks in Zimbabwe started using the U.S. dollar as their currency because their own government was just a complete disaster.
And there's a shortage of dollars in South Africa. And I just read an article yesterday about how the veterans of South Africa are furious with what's his name? Mugabe, yeah. Yeah, and there might be some civil unrest to get him thrown out because they feel like he's a corrupt leader.
Well,
anyway, this world currency reset, if everybody's on the gold standard,
right,
and you're a banker, a world banker, and you have sold billions and billions of dollars in derivatives that aren't worth anything anymore, and now everybody's waking up to the fact that those are not worth anything. And you're stockpiling secretly gold and silver and shoving the price down to be really, really low. It's to your advantage to manipulate that system to raise that to the highest ever to balance out the paper, right?
Yeah, well, this is how the market works right now. I mean, the reason you see a drop in what's perceived as values, which will show up as red, which is all over the market, on Friday, is because they're actually taking profits. That's exactly what's happening. This is it's not, when you're talking about pennies, even in the silver market, you're talking about billions of dollars to bankers. Billions. That because of the volume that they trade. This is an insane situation that people just don't understand. They come into the store looking for, they come in saying, hey, you've got silver showing right now at 1972. Oh, really? So is that what you really hold the true value of silver at, is $19.72 because COMEX tells you that? So these are the kinds of things that we'll go even more into here just in a little moment. We're going to talk more about this just after the break. So come back. We're looking forward to chatting with you.
Gold and silver is the purest money on earth. It can't be printed and it can't be created. Gold and silver is money and insurance for your family. We hope you never need it. But wouldn't you rather have peace of mind? The Gold Ore Store. Now is the time.
The Gold Ore Store. For your family's peace of mind. The Gold Ore Store. Located on Main Street in historic downtown St. George.
Hi, folks. Welcome back. We're here at the Gold Ore Store, just discussing today the amazing things in our economy happening, and one of them is particularly the gold and silver market, how it is rigged. It's a total fraud, and these amazing numbers that we're actually being told that are the true values of gold and silver today
are a gift.
They are a gift.
It's a gift, guys.
I'm always amazed at how folks come into the store and are just so upset because I won't, we always sell at great prices anyway. That's really our bottom line. We have better prices than anyone in this town, bar none. And in fact, we have better prices than within even hundreds of miles.
Or online.
So it's just kind of like, it blows me away that, I won't sell at 50 cents over spot. It just is absolutely incredible. And the reason I won't is because, well, first of all, the numbers are just absolutely fraud to begin with. We're still basing our numbers on a $19, $20 fraudulent number.
Well, hon, you've got to realize, speaking for you good folks out there, I know there's a lot of you that are really frustrated because you bought in at $35 or $45 and now we're clear down to 19 and 20. And so you see that as a loss, that you're losing money.
Right.
And that mindset is actually erroneous.
It is erroneous. The reason it is because you're basing it on a fraudulent number to begin with.
Well, a fraudulent number from the dollar bill.
That's
the
correct.
dollar bill bill
That is correct.
is being manipulated. The value of the dollar bill is being manipulated. So you think, okay, well, it cost me $1 to buy 10 dimes, and those dimes are worth X amount of dollars. Well, you can't think of it that way. You've got to think of it more as an insurance policy that's going to protect you from the inflation, from the rise and fall of the markets.
I keep explaining to folks, and we do this on a daily basis because they are just not aware. But as soon as they start to get aware, they start to open up to realizing that even if silver was $50 right now an ounce, it would be a bargain beyond anything they can possibly imagine. When this crash occurs, and we are going to have a crash, it is going to be
ugly.
It's going to be ugly and it's going to be difficult, but there's going to be things in this world that are going to be seen as valuable. One of those things is gold. One of those things is silver. These two items are
ammunition, guns.
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
For some people, whiskey and cigarettes.
Hey, whatever a tradable economy or a tradable item is for you and for somebody else, it really doesn't matter. I mean, if you want to trade ATVs or fuel or gas or booze or whatever it is to accomplish the task of survival and making your life easier,
it's kind of interesting.
More power to you.
Yeah, when you talk about that, because when you talk to World War II survivors, we had a friend, and she said that one of the commodities that was worth its weight in gold was shortening.
Yeah.
They couldn't get the shortening. Cooking oil, yeah. Yeah, so if you had the forethought to stock up on that and nobody else can get it and you have it, all of a sudden you have something you can barter and trade with.
That's called a commodity.
And silver and gold falls into that category.
It does. It's now you can't eat it. You know, it can't be printed.
Well, you can eat it, but it's,
You know. Well, yeah.
It's found in some products.
You can eat it, but in very small, limited amounts. But the point is that it is something that is really seen and it has always been seen as money.
Worldwide, not just in America.
Exactly. And so it's really an amazing item to have, just stockpiled, just for that purpose of, in fact, really, you need to think about it as far as larger purchase amounts in both gold and silver. The expectation is that silver will go up much, much higher than where it is right now. And that's another great reason to take a look at it. I know many of you out there right now have been thinking about gold and silver.
Now, we're not talking about paper derivatives. We're talking about physical gold and silver,
only.
guys.
Yeah, that's all we will ever really discuss with you as far as what the Gold Ore Store here in St. George does.
It
for
does,
folks.
yeah, because it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. The whole market could collapse and crash, but if I still have that physical gold and silver, I have insurance. I have something that I can barter and trade with.
It really is seen as an insurance policy, and more of you really get to take a look at it that way and stop worrying about 2 cents of a change or 50 cents or even $1 or $2. It really doesn't matter. The truth of the matter is that silver is money. Well, and it has always been seen as such and has been used as such since the dawn of time. The Christ was betrayed with 30 pieces of silver. If it wasn't seen as valued by Judas, then we wouldn't see it in the light that we do today.
Well, yeah, and that's why silver's evil, and we use it to kill vampires, right?
Yeah, silver has like several dual purposes in life. Yes, it's really true.
But let's get back to historically. Can you share with the audience, historically, gold and silver is still a really good investment.
It is.
Even far and above the insurance part of it. Mm-hmm. People are making money on purchasing gold and silver. So where are we at historically, like in the last 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, you can look at this as to how we in our business, got involved in this in about 2004. in around 2004, when we first got involved, you'll recall that we were selling silver at $7 an ounce. Now take a look at that.
Yeah.
We're 12 years later than that, and where are we? We're in the $20 range. Who's going to complain about that?
Yeah, if you'd have put all your 401k money into silver, then you would be way ahead of the game.
It's really very, very true.
Much more than any 401k historically performs.
Yeah, I mean, these 401ks are based on a fraudulent market. They're based on stocks in corporations.
Well, so is gold and silver. It's a fraudulent market, too, but you have something physical to show for it.
That's the difference right there.
Yeah.
I mean, if holding a paper and having 1,000 shares of Apple, feels good to you, then, by all means, go buy more. But I can tell you this much, that with everything is the way things are going in the stock market, and I'm just using Apple as an example right now, there are situations that are evolving around the world. They're going to make this stock market crash. And you better be prepared, because I guarantee you don't know or understand how the stock market works. It's traded in a way that would blow your mind. If you think fractionalized banking is something, you'd be blown away about how they fractionalize stock market shares. So that's it. It is an absolutely incredible situation that the people have got to wake up to.
So there's some terms you've been using that our novice gold and silver people may not understand. Can you explain to me what spot is and what the premium is, and where would I go to look up the live prices for gold and silver if I wanted to buy or sell?
Sure. The Kitco, KITCO.com is one place to go on a daily basis to get these ridiculous numbers. But it's a place that you'll get what's called spot, is also a melt value at that particular moment based on the COMEX, which is a commodities exchange based out of Chicago, Illinois. And these numbers are changed during the day. There's an 8-hour trading day. It's in New York. And then after the New York market, about 30 minutes later, the Asian market and the world market opens up. And those are the prices we're talking about as far as spot. So when I say spot, I'm talking about at that moment, silver is per se 1950. That's where we charge on wherever our premium is, which is the amount above that we charge to actually make some money on the product. And
part of that premium makes up what the mint gets paid to punch them into bars or to coins or whatever, and then there's a little bit extra on top of that we get to keep.
That is correct. Yes, that is exactly how it works. Okay, folks, and when we come back after break, we're going to discuss specific products that may be of interest to you regarding gold, silver, coinage, things that you may be attracted to that you didn't even know would be of interest to you. Those types of things we'll discuss.
Yeah, the types of products that you can invest in and the pros and cons of each.
There you go, exactly. We're looking forward to seeing you. Come on back.
Traditional investments are losing their appeal. There is a process going on that is changing mindsets. Gold and silver is the purest money on earth. It can't be printed or created. Do you want to protect your wealth with insurance and give your family peace of mind? The Gold Ore Store, now is the time.
The Gold Ore Store, for your family's peace of mind. The Gold Ore Store, located on Main Street in historic downtown St. George.
Okay, so now we're back. Thanks so much. We're so glad to be here. The gold and silver items that are available out there are immense. There's so many. we usually discuss items specific to what an individual is interested in. And many folks are just interested in gold. Many are just interested in silver. We're seeing a lot lately where folks are looking at both items together in kind of a percentage of 10% gold, 90% silver, 20% gold, 80% silver. And these kinds of things are important as far as which items are out there. Gold is money. Silver is money. So it really comes down to what you have an affinity for. The U.S. Mint makes an enormous amount of products. The American Eagle and American Silver Eagle are both extraordinary products, very highly regarded and very highly demanded in the world today. Many folks are interested in purchasing just that type of product. There are others out there that are interested in any other kind of state minted. When I say state minted, I'm talking about minted by government gold and silver products. The major governments around the world actually are all involved in this. You name one, I can tell you what their product is. Australia has the Krugerrand.
That's
or South Africa. I'm sorry, South Africa. Yeah,
you've got the maple leaf from Canada. You've got the Swiss Pamf. Yeah.
And so these products are out there available. They're all really high quality products. You can't lose really with any one of them. But some people seem to highly value others over others. So,
well, the thing that I like to point out is anytime you have a government product, especially U.S. government, not so much Canadian or African or some of the Swiss products, but in America, the only legal tender that the Constitution allows is those silver and gold eagles or coinage. And so they own it, right?
Well, yeah, there is a belief out there by many that is true. Others tend to fall away from that because we don't even have a constitution that's operating in this country.
That's a topic for Monday, by the way.
Yeah, so we can go into that, but that all occurred in 1871. We can talk about that later. But anyway, the bottom line is that these items can be used as a store of value. And, what works for you doesn't work for somebody else and vice versa. So it's a very, very, very personal type of thing. Many folks are interested in just what we call generic silver. And these are products that are actually minted by private mints all over America and other countries as well. And these products are used as a store of value, but they just don't have that treasury mark on them. But they're the same amount of silver that is in any other silver product that's sold as bullion. 3/9 fine is what's considered pure.
So on a premium for a Silver Eagle, for example, you're going to be around what?
$3.50.
$3.50 above the spot price.
Above that melt rate.
And on a generic 1 ounce silver round, you're going to be
anywhere from $1 to $2, $2.50 for many places, we'll charge.
Depending on the volume.
Yeah, but it's always going to be less than a state minted product.
So if you're buying 500 rounds, silver rounds, that adds up. That could be more than a $500 savings for the same exact amount of silver.
Exactly. Yes, and it's a huge issue for folks. Many of them just are not willing to invest that larger amount of money in those Silver Eagles because of that exact same reason. They'd rather save that $150, $750, over spot rate.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, Silver Eagles can it's considered a coin, so it can have numismatic value attached to it over time, just like a collectible coin. Whereas the generic silver will never have that.
Yeah, it is something you definitely deserve to know as listeners out there that the silver and the gold eagles every single year actually become more valued as far as the numis or collectible side of this is concerned. And a lot of folks like that. They like to collect tubes of 20 Silver Eagles and know that they've got something that is increasing in value every single year because of that collectability aspect to it too. So the value on the Eagles is always there. It's just do you want to invest that much more for that collectible side?
Well, and I don't know that in an economic meltdown, anybody's going to give you more than spot for any product in chaotic, situations. So in that scenario, it'd be a waste of money.
It could very well be. I mean, this is something that we discuss quite often in the store with folks about where this thing is going to go and how things will play out in kind of a dark scenario as a crash. I mean, you're talking about a very difficult situation, what could be involved, and we really don't know. So there's a lot of conjecture involved. We don't claim to be an absolute expert at what's going to happen when everything hits the fan.
Yeah.
So
So if I'm a brand new investor, I don't have anything. Mm-hmm. Would you suggest I jump into gold or silver? How would you?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to what do you want to do? What kind of funds do you have? There's a big difference between an individual that has $5,000 to invest as opposed to one that's got $50,000 or $100,000. Yeah, exactly. These individuals have a different game plan, and we see all of them. We discuss it with all of them. We give as much respect and work with all people in all situations,
all budgets.
Yeah, even $100. I mean, personally, as someone who's been involved in this business for a long time, I like to discuss things with people just for the fact that they want to discuss it. I mean, if they come in and they say, "Look, I've got $100 that I'd like to get some silver with," you know what? Hallelujah. Praise, because you actually got it. You're figuring out that dollar has no real true value, and you're going to purchase something that actually has value. That's an amazing transformation in thinking processes. That's what we're doing here, is just kind of changing paradigms, in this world with what we do in a small way here in St. George.
So it's a very real concern, Greg, that we wake up one morning and the bank is having a holiday. Mm-hmm. So in that situation where you have absolutely no access to your cash and your money or anything, and it's just what's in your wallet, you're totally, completely caught off guard. And I have some silver. Where do I take that silver to convert it to dollars so that I can buy milk for my babies?
Well, the thing is that dollars may not be what you want in this scenario. I mean, look, the world is going to get this.
Dollars are going to work for a little while.
Here's how it's going to work. I can tell you this much for sure. When you take your ATM and you shove it into that gas machine and you pull it out and it says nothing, it's not working,
not valid.
Or you go to an ATM, which is a better case scenario as far as how this looks for how we see money in this world, and you can only take out $60.
Now that happened in Greece just recently, didn't it?
It did, yeah. Or let's say an even worse case scenario, you can't even get the ATM is no longer working.
Okay.
So what are you going to do?
I don't know.
Well, what do you mean?
What are you going to do?
Well, I'm
going to go open up the store.
Yeah, I'm going to look at my storage of what I have, food first, water. Things of these nature, as well as what I've got in gold and silver and all of these types of things, and start to figure out what I can trade for valued items that I need right now.
So what is that coin collection going to look like in a meltdown scenario? Grandpa's got coins. Do I turn those in for cash? I mean, how do I know I'm not getting ripped off because I've got a coin that's really rare and it looks like crap, and I think it's worth 25 cents.
I think I'm not clear on this. It depends on where the value of cash is at the moment of the end of this thing. Listen in on Monday because we're right after Kate, and we're really excited to have our show, Silver Linings. Eventually, it'll be a Monday show on a regular basis. Right now, it's just every other week. But please listen in because we have very, very important information about the market, what's going on, that is not coming out in any other form in media right now. We're the location to get that information. And right now, listen in every other week, Gold Ore Store, Silver Linings.
Now's the time.
Now is the time.
Join us every other Monday at 4 p.m. here on Fox News Radio for Silver Linings with Greg Neal. You can find Greg at the Gold Ore Store on historical Main Street in downtown St. George.